when my camera stopped recording, so I'm gonna have to start from the beginning, even though I've been talking for a long time. So, okay. So, Sonic the Hedgehog is, okay. One thing that I think is fun is that I like stupid shit, right? I like stupid shit like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and Sonic, and I like to find what's like the heart of it. What are the themes? What keeps this machine running? What is like the deeper message or like lesson to learn from this? Even if it's not what's the ideology of it? Even if it's not an ideology you agree with, even if it's not a lesson that you think is worth learning, that's always interesting to me, especially in things that are stupid. Yu-Gi-Oh! It has to do with deep, like how important relationships can be, those deep connections. You're so intertwined with someone, it's like they're part of your soul. In the end, like a little bit of like letting that go. It also has to do with like trusting yourself, trusting that when they talk about believing in the heart of the cards, they mean like trust that you have put your blood, sweat, and tears into this, and that you will be rewarded. That's what that means. And with Pokemon, it's just about like perseverance. Ash loses and loses and loses and loses. My sweet boy, and he never gives up. He also is always willing to help people along the way in his Pokemon journey. The reason he's a good Pokemon trainer isn't because he trains the hardest or the best. He is repeatedly disparaged as being like lazy and like not a very diligent trainer, but the reason that his Pokemon get trained is that they have real world experience, because he is always using his Pokemon to help other people, which, you know, fits nicely into an episodic format. That's why Team Rocket's Pokemon suck dick. Can I get over, please? Thank you. That's so kind of you. So Sonic is about, first of all, we're going to talk about comparing like Sonic and Eggman. You know, we have the idea of like the Green Hill Zone being Sonic's like home. It is perfect. It's green. It's got a loop-de-loop. Natural, I guess. Awesome. It's got palm trees, and it's got Sonic's friends and all that kind of stuff. It is anarchy and harmony. You know, anarchy in the way that like an anarchist would tell you that it works. I think I'm not an anarchist, so I'm not that, but that's my at least, you know, service level. And obviously Robotnik, you know, he is very industrious, so it can very well be interpreted as just like Robotnik as representing like industry and constant growth and constant like mechanization is like very literally threatening the environment of the critters. Are they called critters? I like thinking of them as critters. It's very literally like threatening the environment of the critters and threatening the livelihood of the critters and literally enslaving them inside of robots so they become a part of the machine, a little cog in the machine, you know. But this isn't over the hedge. This isn't just like critters if I remember what Over the Hedge is about. This isn't just like wild animals. This isn't just wildlife gaining the ability to fight back against the biggest threat to their environment, which is not just us, but like industry, right? It's not just that, it's Robotnik's need for like order and his need to impose order upon Sonic and his friends. And Sonic just always is fighting for people's freedom. He's not super morally aligned. Does that make sense? Like, he's a good guy, but he doesn't care about a lot of things. It's mostly about like his ideal is like freedom, and he hates people who threaten his freedom and the freedom of his friends and the freedom of strangers. And that's what he fights for. And so it's not just, industry versus wildlife. It's also order versus harmonious chaos versus anarchy. I think that's, when you have an adaptation, you want the spirit of the thing to be reflected well. And I actually was watching, somebody was reacting to the Sonic 3 trailer, and they were like, they're changing stuff. And it's like, yeah, they changed stuff in the first two movies. They changed a lot of stuff. Do you notice Sonic's on Earth? Do you notice Green Hill is like in Montana? Like, I don't know. Do you notice he has a dad? He acts like he's 9 years old. Did you notice these things? I don't know. I think it's a bit silly to be like they changed some stuff. But they changed a lot of stuff in the first movie, and they seemed to have a positive reaction to that. If you don't like the Sonic movie and you're a Sonic fan, that's totally valid. They changed a lot. Especially Sonic's character. I feel like he's characterized very differently because he's a child and he has the like hopefulness of it, the like optimism of a child that I don't think Game Sonic. I mean, it's not that like Game Sonic's like a pessimist, but like he's a rude teenager. And even if Movie Sonic is like very literally like an overactive kid. And he gets into trouble a lot, and he doesn't listen. He's a little scamp. He's a scamp. Game Sonic's not like a scamp. He's like a vagabond. Are these words helpful? I just think he's scamp vibes. And so I think for Movie Sonic, it helps in making him more charming. That was one thought I had going into the Sonic movie, was like, how is this characterization going to come across? Because the same traits that made you likable in the early 2000s are not the same traits that make you likable in a movie today. I don't think I would like most 2000s protagonists if they came out today. In the 2000s, I didn't like most 2000s protagonists, to be honest. I much prefer. Listen, I'm a little lawful good baby. I would love everybody to just be lawful good all the time. That's not true, but like, it's not true. Yeah, I'm a little lawful good baby. I want people to be lawful good. I like watching characters that are lawful good. So yeah, so I'm like, I was like, how are they going to do that? Because like, I feel like there are a lot of things about Sonic that is very of the time. That's very 90s. Is it early 2000s? I meant 90s, sorry. That's very 90s and very like he doesn't give a shit. And that's not like as endearing, at least to American audiences. So, you know, I was wondering, like, how are they gonna like change him? Or like, are they gonna change him, or is he gonna be likable? And I was like, oh my god, they did it in one swoop. They were like, make him young, make him like a kid. So when he's like flip it and stuff, you're like, oh, he's being a kid. He's being like a disrespectful child rather than like a disrespectful adult who can kick your ass. He's a child that can kick your ass, but it's a little, like, the vibe's a little different. He hasn't quite internalized his ability to kick your ass. I feel like Game Sonic has. Like, he knows he can kick your ass, but I don't know. He doesn't like carry himself like he can kick your ass. Anyway, this is all very ambiguous. But anyway, I was gonna say one thing that I think was good about the Sonic movie. One thing that they changed was, I think, one thing that they changed is I think that making Robotnik a military contractor was a really cool move. I don't know, I can't remember if there's ever been like any I don't think there's a game where he's a contractor. But like any adaptation where he was a military contractor at any point. I think that's something that they just kind of made up for the movie, and I think it's a genius move, because obviously, and with those other elements I was talking about, and with being anti-industry and anti-order, like civilization in a sense. Like, civilization is always presented as these like dark, what do you call that aesthetic? These like, it's like the aesthetic from the movie Metropolis. Where it's just like, sorry, I'm tired. Where it's just like clanging metal constantly and scaffolding, and like you're gonna get an air conditioner dropped on your head or something. Just this like big machinery. It's not like a very flattering depiction of civilization. And yet it's the one we see. I'm sorry, I say in the Sonic games, but I don't mean like when we get like, I'm meaning like the side scrollers when I say that. I guess I should be specific, because there's like, what is it, like Liberty Square? I'm like, that's fine. That's normal. That looks fine. I'm so sorry. Liberty Square, and like I guess the president is like seen positively. But like if I'm thinking about, I guess, more of like the original like side scrollers, what I'm talking about, like being anti-civilization. Because yeah, there are Sonic games where he's like in civilization and it's like cool and fun, and he does like a bunch of culture hopping and werehog game. What's the game called? Sonic Unleashed. Okay, I'm like, werehog? It's just called werehog, I think. Sorry, I've been awake a long time. I did not get enough sleep yesterday. I stayed up to play the Payne's Creek Killings, and then I didn't sleep in because I wanted to get up early and play the Payne's Creek Killings. But yeah, but I think that Robotnik being a military contractor, and the way that the military are presented as like antagonistic in the first two movies, I think it very well fits in with some of the themes and ideology we've seen in Sonic games. And you may think, Shelby, are you reading too much into this? In which case, I would say yes and no. Like, you can think so. You're allowed. I think it's reductive. I mean, like I'm probably thinking too much into some things, but like I don't think I'm completely wrong. Like, because like some people I feel like want to counter these kinds of interpretations by being like, it's just a game about a hedgehog that go fast, and it's like, well, it's never gonna be just that, because if it was just that, then there wouldn't be a villain, and there wouldn't be this setting and how it looks. Like I'm thinking about the original Sonic. There wouldn't be the setting and how it looks. Like, the environment is telling a story. The way that these things are depicted is communicating something. Open your ears. Open your eyes. See that video games are art and that all art is a form of communication. And listen, what is it communicating? Yeah. I mean, it's like a big thing. I am like immediately like, not all video games are like art like that, or at least not like that, because I'm like, there are games that are just like Tetris, or I've played a lot of like 2048 bricks, and like 2048 bricks isn't like art, it's just like a puzzle. So there are video games that are puzzles, and then there are video games that are art, and that's not, don't ascribe like art as me being like, it's good, because there's a lot of bad art, you know. Anyway, but like, a lot of video games are communicating something. Whether that is the main goal. The main goal is probably to make something fun that people want to play. However, you are going, like, to make a world interesting, you have to tell us things about the world. And the way that you tell those things, it's going to be very telling. It's going to be telling. So, like, some of these things, like, it might not even be, I would disagree, but someone might posit that, like, it's not purposeful that nature is presented so idealistically and civilization is presented so dystopian in, like, the first several Sonic games. And, like, maybe it could also be an accident that it's like that in Final Fantasy VII, but it's not an accident, is it? That aesthetic means something. That aesthetic means something. And in Final Fantasy VII, they purposely make Midgar look like a piece of shit. And at least, like, in the original game, I don't know if they do a great job showing you that, like, the beauty of nature and what is lost when you do Midgar. It's just kind of like, yeah, magic though. Which that Final Fantasy VII is one of the best stories that blows my mind. But, like, I think Sonic does a good job of saying, like, that's kind of bad. This is perfect. Look at what you're trading. You are trading beautiful, lush greenery and harmony for order. And why? I'm like losing the plot here, I'm sure. I'm so tired. But yeah, I think making Robotnik a military contractor was a good way to, like, tie in. It makes, like, the first Sonic movie, you know, because I was thinking about it, you know, because Tom Wachowski is a cop, so it's like, is this propaganda? And I'm like, for as much as it's like, oh, Tom's like a good small town cop, it's like Tom's position as, like, a paragon of goodness is reliant on the fact that he does not go and become a city cop. That is treated as, like, if Tom has like almost like, not like a moral failing, but like if Tom lets go of his value of Green Hill and how important he is to his community, and goes and becomes like a real cop. Because like he thinks of himself as like not a real cop. And so like I don't really know if it's propaganda, because the idea that he would go to, what is it, like Seattle or something? The idea that he would go to Seattle. Wait, no, it's not Seattle. Is it the Golden Gate Bridge? Where the fuck is that? I'm losing my goddamn mind. San Francisco. But it's the Golden Gate Bridge. Isn't there a picture on the cake of the Golden Gate Bridge on fire? Am I crazy? Is it San Francisco? It drops on... Is it the Bank of America building? Oh my god. I'm losing my mind. Anyway, the idea that he would go and become like a real like beat cop is treated as like almost like that would corrupt him. Like that's treated as like not a good choice for him. Also, I just think that it's notable that whenever a government operative tries to unlawfully enter his house, he catches him alive, physically bars his way, punches him in the goddamn face, and then later on, when like Gunn, who's like the stupid CIA, are like, have you seen Sonic? He lies to their face. He lies to their face. I don't know. I think that those things are notable. You can make arguments on whether or not it's still propaganda to show like a good like small town cop, because I don't know. I grew up in a small town. It was not a 2-cop small town, you know? It was not that small. I think that desensitization... I'm not here to talk about police officers, but the problem with police officers right now. It's a tangled ball of yarn, okay? Alright? I'm here to talk about, does Tom represent that? And Green Hill, in the Green Hills, it's Green Hills. It's the Green Hill Zone, and then there's Green Hills. It's Montana, right? I'm not crazy. Am I forgetting all details about the movie? It has been a while since I've seen it. And Green Hills is just sort of like a sanctuary and kind of treated as separate from the rest of the world. And that Sonic never like went far from it. I think, isn't Sonic surprised that there's like more than like hundreds of people? Oh, my mustache. I cannot film myself. I'm way too vain. I'm like, my hair looks awful. And it's like, girl, where's this video going? You're gonna send it to Jay? Probably. And that's it. But I don't know. I think that's it. I'm really tired. I'm really losing it. So those are some thoughts on Anarchy versus Order, Sonic versus Robotnik. And then some additional and related thoughts on does Tom Wachowski is that propaganda? He's wearing, in the trailer, he's wearing a gun uniform, and I'm like, this has got to be a trick. This has got to be a trick. I'm guessing it's some sort of dumb infiltration plan. That's what I'm guessing. Somebody in a server I'm in was like, I hope there's not like a dumb episode of King of Queens in there. And I'm like, one, I kind of feel like there won't be. I kind of feel like they're going to have their hands full with enough story already. Because when you watch the second movie again, you will go, I forgot there was so much of just human shit in this. Like, are we gonna see the sister-in-law? God, I hope so. I want to see more of JoJo. I don't care. Like, I want to see more of the sister-in-law and her cute little kid. I think that kid's funny. Yeah, I want to see. I like Maddie. I like Maddie. Yeah, I kind of don't feel like we're gonna have as big as a human plot. I do want, like, Tom and Maddie to do stuff. I would like it. Listen, in the second movie, would I've preferred if they were involved in the main plot? Maybe a little bit. I guess part of the idea of the second movie is, like, Sonic's finding his own people, like his own, like, friends. That it's not just gonna be him and Tom and Maddie. That, like, Sonic is kind of, like, growing up and going off with Tails. I don't know. Going off with Tails, and then with the addition of, like, Knuckles, it's like, oh, that's like a real team. That's a real team. I hope. Listen, part of me is like, 3 is a good number. 3 is a good rounded out. Sonic 4 seems a little superfluous. But on the other hand, what about Rouge? I would also not mind seeing Chaos. And Gamma. Oh! Gamma. My heart. My soul. I don't know. Gamma's part of me, I would love to see Gamma, but also, like, Gamma's so perfect that, like, I don't need to see Gamma. Does that make sense? Gamma is such a perfect story that I don't need to see him adapted. I'm just fine with Gamma being Gamma. Don't prolong his pain. I love him so much. Rouge deserves the big screen. She would want it, unlike Gamma, and she deserves to have it. I would get Rouge anything she wanted if she were to ask me. Unfortunately, she shall not ask me. She is a fictional bat. Anyway. Oh, so long. Good night.